Hello and welcome back, guys, to the Link Up Podcast. It's your boy Derz and Efrum. And guys, the title race is getting interesting after what we just spoke about last week. The FA Cup, some shocking results, and then is Spurs gonna get relegated? Efrum, how we doing? How we feeling?
Was good, gang. Welcome back to another video. Yeah, looking good, man. Spurs. Spurs have not won in the last 5 games. Spurs is looking atrocious. Will they get relegated? What do the scenes look like if Spurs get relegated, man?
Just on value though. Spurs is a huge team. Imagine them playing against, in the championship. I mean, with a brand new stadium, of course, all the players aren't going to go, right? We're going to see a lot of them leave if they were to get relegated, and there's still a long season still to go. But based on form and based on how Wolves and West Ham are starting to look, you would argue that right now it looks like more likely for Spurs to drop than for them. But just imagine, right? Seeing, players like Xavi Simons in the championship. I just can't see it.
I know there's so many. Yeah, honestly, if they go down, they're gonna lose a lot of players because you have players that just, especially like, who's the one they just got back from Atletico Madrid?
From Atletico Madrid,
Yeah, Gallagher.
Conor Gallagher, yeah.
And they gave him ridiculous wages. I think like 300K or 200K or something like that. Just to go to championship would be, they're not going to make any money going down. You still got these wages, bills. You just got to sell. But yeah, you got Xavi Simons, Kulusevski, which, has been injured. Van de Veen, Romero, Pedro. You call this team a top six. Now they're looking like a bottom three team. It's gonna be absolute scenes. We'll see. It's pretty close. If you look at the table right now, there's only like 3 points. You have Spurs. Hold on. You have Spurs with 29 points, Nottingham 28, West Ham 28. So between those 3 teams, one of them is gonna go down with Burnley and Wolves. And there's only 1 point that separates them, so every point matters. You have Tottenham and Nottingham playing really, really soon. That's going to be a really good one because if West Ham wins, and it's pretty much whoever loses out of those two is going to get brought down, But this is going to come down to the wire. We'll see if Spurs can pick it back up. It seems like they just got a red card, so they're just losing players left to right. They're not winning games they should. I don't know what's going on. They don't have their manager. Is it just a Spursy thing to do? Who knows? Out of those 3, though, Spurs, Nottingham Forest, and West Ham, realistically, not just talking shit on Spurs, who do you see joining Burnley and Wolves? Burnley and Wolves aren't 100% out yet, but they have 19 compared to 28 West Ham. It's looking very unlikely, but who do you got going down with Burnley and Wolves?
Yeah. For me, based on not squad, but based on ownership, Nottingham Forest. This is a team that last season was on the borderline of being in the Champions League. You fired the coach because he didn't qualify for Champions League when you just got promoted like 2 seasons ago, right? That's a huge accomplishment. Yep, that's not good enough for you. So what you did is you went and you burned the bridges of a coach who was good. I think Nuno Espirito Santo is one of the better coaches in the Premier League, right? You go and you get somebody else. You immediately fire that person. Another person comes in. You immediately fire them. Another person comes in. You immediately fire them. So they're like on their 4th coach this season. So I just feel like they don't have an identity. They don't have a system. They don't have a philosophy. And currently competing in, I forget if it's the Conference League or the Europa League. But basically, they're going to have to make a decision. I'm sure their owner wants them to push for both, but you're going to get relegated if you push for both, right? So I feel like what's the point of winning a European competition if you're just gonna go get relegated? And how great would it be to see Nuno Espirito Santo join West Ham, help them get out of relegation to put Nottingham Forest into relegation? I think that would be a great story. I think Spurs has the squad depth, and just the franchise power to be able to live out this moment, but something has to change in Spurs. Will they get relegated? Probably not, but something dramatic needs to change. They have everything, infrastructure, capital, just something lacks there in the ownership. But if we're just talking about who's going down out of these three, I want Nottingham Forest just because of that stupid owner. I think that what he did with all those coaches, I think Nuno Espirito Santo has to make it his mission to relegate this guy after what he did to him.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of them, that one I think surprised me the most. I mean, West Ham I didn't expect either, but or Spurs, but Nottingham Forest last season was, they were up there. There was, I think, second place for the longest. They were up there with Liverpool for a bit. Eventually they just missed out of Champions League in the last couple games, but they were fighting top four the whole way, even top two. And then for them to just fire the coach that had you up there for so long, just it didn't make any sense to me. And look what that's brought. Three new coaches, 17th place, fighting relegation. It's just not a good look for Nottingham Forest. I expected more. They look good. And but I mean it is what it is. And then West Ham, can't say too much about West Ham. And then Spurs. Oh, yeah, we already worried about Spurs, but let's look on the top end of the table because things are getting close here too, man. Between fourth and sixth, you got 3 points separating, and everybody's on 29 games besides Arsenal. Um, but yeah, we'll start with top four, fighting for four, I guess. I mean, realistically, I think fifth place gets Champions League too, right?
Yeah.
So one's gonna one's gonna miss out. It's either gonna be United, Aston Villa, Chelsea, or Liverpool. As of late, I mean, Liverpool just lost to Wolves, but they've won 3 out of their last 5. Chelsea won 2. They had a rocky couple games, but they beat Aston Villa away, which is a big dub. Um, because Aston Villa was looking comfortable at that third place spot, and now they're down to fourth. Even Man United passed them up. So Aston Villa, and now they're playing United. Aston Villa United, that's going to be a good one. We'll see who drops points there. But me, I mean, I got no, I know Liverpool's gonna make it. All right, I'm not even scared. I'm not even worried. It never was. We're gonna make it. We're not gonna be the one team that's gonna miss out that top five. And if we do, we'll just win the Champions League and go in that way. It's no big deal. But realistically, I don't know, man. The way Aston Villa's been looking as of late, I mean, Chelsea too. They had a rocky game with Wrexham, which we'll get to later, but they beat Aston Villa. I'm gonna have Aston Villa miss out of Champions League, which is shocking. If you would have told me a month or two ago, they look comfortable in third place. Like nobody was gonna reach him. As of late, they've only had one win in the last 5, 2 losses for the last games. They're playing United, who's looking really good right now. Yeah, it's not looking too good for Aston Villa. Who do you think is not going to make it?
I mean, out of those, just based on current form, it's easy to say Aston Villa, right? But
Could
I
be
mean,
Chelsea
let's
too,
not
though.
forget Chelsea.
Too inconsistent.
Chelsea's a little bit inconsistent, little bit new, like new coach. So everyone's still trying to get to know each other to a certain extent. I just really rate Joao Pedro. Joao Pedro is just that guy, and I kind of have my faith in him. Cole Palmer has been a little bit, under the radar this season. But going back to it, Aston Villa, I mean, based on current form, you'd want to say them, but like I said, what I was trying to get to is they were in the relegation zone early in the season. And who's to say that they can't get back to that sort of form where they went like 11 games in a row on just winning, not even no ties, just 11 games in a row winning, and they could end the season with a great push. I think Liverpool is that team that shows brilliance, but then kind of falls back into that issues where they drop points to like teams like Wolves. But I mean, as of late, they have been showing a lot more consistency, a lot better performances. Ugo Ekitike is pretty inspired. I mean, only dropping points as of late against Man City. Earlier, before that, they had lost to Bournemouth, but Bournemouth, I love Bournemouth, so I mean, what could I say? Going forward, though, because we can only talk about what could really realistically happen going forward. They have Tottenham, which if they beat that game, I mean, we could be talking about Tottenham being relegated. After that, they have Brighton in the Prem. Brighton's a pretty good team. They tend to drop make the top four drop points. It's going to be away. It's going to be a hard game. Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace. These are all relatively winnable games, but like I mean, I mentioned before. I mean, Liverpool has been struggling, showing different sides of them. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes we don't know who's playing on that field. So, I mean, if they put their trust in Rio and Gamoa, I think it's going to be a great side of youth and just like a breath of fresh air that I think Liverpool needs right now. I think that they're kind of like out of ideas, and somebody like Rio who's gonna come at you and take you on and create space and create chaos and draw fouls and create opportunities, versus Gakpo who's a little bit more mature and he might pass it back when you need somebody just to take that risk right now. I think Liverpool's just missing that spark, somebody to just be like, fuck it, let's just go. And I think that Gakpo is a little bit too composed and he's trying to find the perfect opportunity. And Rio is just like, let's crack some skulls, let's get some shit going. And I think Rio is going to be somebody who, if they put their faith in him, even though he's only 17, right? Um, it's time. It's time. So Liverpool has to do something. And I think that's going to help them. Um, on paper, you would think that it would be Liverpool and then up to Aston Villa and Chelsea for that spot. But I mean, we'll see. I think that Chelsea has a better squad, but I think that Aston Villa has a better coach. Something's going on in Aston Villa that they can't figure it out. They just can't win games. But like I mentioned before, they started off really bad. They found their form. Now they lost their form. Let's see if they can find it back.
You think we're over not hyping, but we're giving Manu too much credit?
The truth is,
The reason I say that, all right, they also just tied to Nottingham Forest. They get a scrappy win against Leeds. New Newcastle. Oh, I'm looking at City. My bad.
yeah, they didn't tie
They
him
lost
Nottingham
to
Forest.
Newcastle with 10 men, which was a shocker. They played with 10 men for a long time. They beat Crystal Palace. You know, I think Crystal Palace also had 10 men. They beat Everton also with 10 men. They tied West Ham. Before that, they went on the 4-game win streak. They beat Spurs, obviously, but who hasn't been beating Spurs? So I mean, Man United has been winning, but it hasn't been pretty. It hasn't been convincing. Um, Red cards for the other teams, and even with the red cards, look, they still lose to Newcastle. So, um, they play Aston Villa next. I think this is really going to tell us more of where they're really at. Um, I want to see they're at home, so I think this is going to be a good, kind of representation of if both teams are at. See if they're serious or not. Because United is sitting at third right now, but they've been getting some scrappy wins. Wins are wins, not gonna lie. But Liverpool was getting these type of wins at the beginning of the season, and then couldn't keep up, and luck wasn't going their way, and then started dropping points, and um, now they're sitting at six. So we'll see if we see the same thing from United or not. Yeah, I mean, I wanna enjoy seeing Carrick as a manager, even though I'm not a Man U fan. But I think just having I like seeing players, ex players, you know, coaching their team. So I would love for Carrick to be that guy if he's showing up, but he's gonna have to step up his team because these scrappy wins. I'm not sure they're gonna cut it long term or to keep him long term. So big week this week. Even Chelsea's playing Newcastle. We're playing Spurs, Arsenal Villa, United. It's going to be a hectic week for that fourth, top four, top five positioning. We might see these teams just switching throughout these next couple weeks, so it should be fun. Keep us on our toes. But now for the first two, the main ones, the main creme brulee of the pie, huh? Arsenal, say, so City just drew to Nottingham, which was uh they were at home. You don't expect that, Obviously, Nottingham is fighting for relegation, but I mean, City's fighting for the title. Shocker of a game there. Arsenal beat Brighton away. Early goal, Saka reflection, goal nonetheless. Arsenal just sit back, waste time, and get the 3 points. And City still, I mean, for some reason, Arsenal has 30 Premier League games compared to the rest of the other teams, but they're 7 points ahead City. So if City wins their game in hand against West Ham, they're 4 points away from Arsenal. So meaning Arsenal would have to drop points at least twice and City be perfect for City to pass up Arsenal. So um how's it looking like there's
So for me, I mentioned it a lot in the last episode where I feel like Arsenal kind of is not producing enough, and they're going to get caught up. I think this last week was very beneficial for Arsenal with the Nottingham Forest tie. Did not expect that, especially after they were winning. I want to say they were up both times and Nottingham Forest tied. Coming from behind, Nottingham Forest away from home was actually able to get the job done. They didn't win the game, but I mean, I think getting a tie against Man City is getting the job done. For Man City's next fixtures, I mean, they have West Ham, another team in the relegation zone. You would have thought that they would have, beat Nottingham Forest. So, I mean, who's to say that they're going to beat West Ham? I think West Ham is having a revival, like I mentioned with Nuno Espirito Santo. Will they get the job done away from home at West Ham? I don't know. But I mean, like we said, there's still a long part of the season. There's still a lot left to play. I think that I don't know if I remember Arsenal being first place going into March. So if they bought the league this time, it's going to be crazy. But I saw something earlier. I was watching a YouTube. His channel is Vize. He's a British guy. He always talks about what's going on in the Premier League. Really rate him. And he was kind of talking about how a lot of people are hating on Arsenal. I mean, I include myself. I feel like they're not producing enough. They're not playing beautiful football. And they used to, right? They used to play like this great football where they had a bunch of youngsters. Odegaard was pulling the strings, playing in Saka. Saka was hitting those long shots constantly. Um, it was very dynamic football, very beautiful football, but they always bottled the league. So if you're Mikel Arteta thinking about this, saying, okay, well, if beautiful football doesn't work, a win is a win. So, I mean, I think for Arsenal's perspective, as long as they're first place, as long as they're champion, they don't care if the ball comes in rolling because everybody tumbles and rolls and it goes in. They're still lifting that trophy at the end of the season, and they don't give a fuck. And I think that it's fair to say because that's football. I mean, as long as they're not doing anything illegal, using their hands, fouling, doing anything like that, scoring goals from offside, we can't really say much. A goal is a goal, a win is a win. Whether they're, time wasting, you could argue about that. That's up to the refs to decide that they need to play the ball, quicker. But at the end of the day, like I said, if you have more points than everybody else, you're champion and you lift that trophy. And this is what Arsenal wants. After 7 seasons, like we talked about in the beginning of the season, if Mikel Arteta doesn't win something, he's going to get sacked. So at that point, can we really judge the guy for doing whatever it takes? I mean, at the end of the day, his job's on the line. I'm sure it is. So they're going to do whatever it takes to maintain their first place status. And with teams, dropping points like we saw this past week with Man City against Nottingham. I mean, Arsenal got their little breathing room, and I think they're starting to see the light.
Yeah, and a good point there because yeah, these Arsenal fans are not gonna give a fuck. They're gonna take their title, they're gonna cover their ears, and close their eyes, ignore the world, because bro, these guys are thirsty, bro. They're thirsty for some silver, man. They're desperation calls. They haven't won shit, They got an FA Cup, but like bottling twice, they run the risk of bottling it the third time, which I mean for us is more banter, but for them, receiving the banter is no fun. So they'll do whatever it takes, desperation calls. You do what needs to be done. And Arsenal fans aren't gonna care. They're gonna see the one added Premier League title. They're gonna see their manager lift the trophy after all these 7, 8 years, and to them, that's all that matters. My thing is, all right, when you think of Liverpool's era with Jurgen Klopp, it was exciting football, rock and roll style football. Gegenpressing, all this and that, straight attack, straight attack, straight attack. It was exciting. People loved it. People enjoyed it. You're scoring goals. You're scoring a lot of goals. Salah, Mane, Firmino looking good. Um, Now we can look back and you never hear people complain or think anything negative towards that team. You just think that was a fun team to watch. A couple years from now, we're gonna see this Arsenal team in Corner FC, Waste Time FCs, Own Goal FC. They're not gonna get remembered the same way Liverpool was, but like I said, these Arsenal fans are not gonna care. And then at the end of the day, that's all that matters anyway. So they get their trophy. Like you said, I think it's more of his job being on the line. So when desperation calls, you got to do what it takes. So it is what it is. But it won't be pretty. But I mean, as for now, it looks like they're taking the trophy. We'll see if they stick to their name, Bottle FC. But I think that's all with the Premier League for now. Busy, busy, busy. Big games. We do want to go into the FA Cup for a little bit, just because these games just happened. At the moment, we're just missing West Ham, Brentford, but all the other ones played already. Quite some shockers. For me, my biggest shocker was Wrexham, Chelsea. I was watching that game, and Wrexham kept going up every time. Immediately, they were up 1-0. Chelsea ties them up. Right before the game ends, Wrexham scores a second. Chelsea ties them up. And then Wrexham unfortunately gets a red card, has to go extra time with a man down. They're tired. And Chelsea scores 2 goals by, Joao Pedro. Looking good. I'm not going to lie. You brought him up earlier. I think he's looking really sharp, looking good. That's Chelsea's talisman at the moment. But yeah, I would have thought Chelsea would have came in stronger. Shout out to Wrexham. They they knew what was on the line. They knew they were facing the big team. They got the money, they got the motivation, they got the fans behind them. They had a lot of pressure, but they showed out. I'm pretty sure their fans are, they gave them something to be proud of. Premier League teams are not easy, especially they were in fifth division 4 or 5 years ago. Now they're in championship. So they've been hustling, man, and to do that against Chelsea, shout out to them. Mansfield against Arsenal too. They almost Mansfield gave him a run for their money. I didn't really watch it, but I saw the highlights. I saw the shots. They had equal shots, equal opportunities. It was a close game. Arsenal takes it 2-1. Liverpool Wolves. The first game in the Premier League, I think Liverpool's just eyeing them out. You know what I'm saying? They're just let me see what they got. Because they came in and they're up 3-0 at one point and put in the actual A team, and they were just we got Verts back. Once he came in, it just leveled up the whole team by so much. They were just playing tiki taka, passing cheeky balls, 1-2. It looked like it was a training ground, you know. And then they had like 3, 4 clear chances where they just didn't. They were too nonchalant, didn't finish it. We ended up getting countered in the last minute, and Wolves got a goal in, you know. But overall, Liverpool looked very, very strong. City destroyed Newcastle, and then the biggest shock today's games actually two Premier Leagues down teams down, one by a championship team and one Port Vale, which is from where?
League One, third division, and they're in last place in the third division, so they're probably going to be in the fourth
And,
division next season.
and that's a huge shocker coming from Sunderland because they're doing so good in the Premier League right now. Could be they rest players, bring in a B team. They just don't have the depth. You know, maybe they have a good A team for the Premier League, but their B team ain't all of that. Clearly, it couldn't against Port Vale, so Port Vale takes it home. Leeds smacks Norwich. Um, but yeah, as far as the FA Cup draws, do they have any pots or is it just free game?
What it looks like based on the knockout tree is that it's going to be, I think, like a draw again. Because if not, it would have already been showing potential games. Because we're only waiting on one game, so I think they're going to be drawn again. But yeah, I just looked at the lineup. Sunderland was rotating heavily. Um, their goal this season is to stay as high as possible in the league and potentially get into European competitions this season. That Chelsea game was something else. I was watching it live, and Wrexham actually tied it 3-3 in OT with a man down, but it was offside by this much. I swear to God, by the size of
I must
by
have
the
missed
size of
that.
an adolescent's penis, this small. But um, but uh, but no, I think I mean Wrexham is showing who they are. Like you said, 5 years ago they were not even a professional team. And that could be a regular game next season, right? We could see them because they're in range for to get promoted
Yeah. Yep.
through the playoffs. So we could, and they gave it to him. They gave it to him, even though Chelsea did rotate the squad. But I mean, Chelsea has the depth to do that. Even their bench is relatively good. Um, but I mean, we sound like a broken record at this point talking about Chelsea's form, Chelsea's new manager, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it could have been an issue of Chelsea's just not that good. Um,
Yeah, and
but I
real
mean,
quick, I heard the commentator saying like the pretty much how much money each team had between Wrexham and Chelsea. Chelsea was looking at like $1.4 billion. Their company, their team. Wrexham was at 50 mil. So huge, huge difference. You know, just in the bank. So shout out again. Just wanted shout out Wrexham. I mean, I think we all knew Chelsea's it's just got money and players galore, you know, but when they don't do as good, it's like, all right, what's the money even doing, you know?
yeah, and I think this competition. I mean, it's definitely important. It's an important competition, and we see the kind of like the top four of the Premier League making it through with Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. On the other side, with Port Vale going through, with Southampton going through, Leeds, and potentially either West Ham or Brentford, I think that ultimately we're going to see. I mean, I don't know how the draw works. If it's power rankings, like they won't put a Chelsea, like an Arsenal versus Man City, so early because of just because they want to say that for like more like a final. Maybe it's like a your ranking in your leagues. You go. Arsenal's going to get the lowest ranking team because they're first currently in the Premier League. I'm not exactly sure how that works,
Hmm.
but I mean, once we see the draw, what's gonna happen? But I mean, I think that's what it looks. That's what it is. Because usually you'll never see like a Premier League team play against each other until like the very very end. Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be kind of set up for them, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, to kind of make it to that semifinal. Um, but we'll see. I mean, shout out to Port Vale for making it through, Wrexham almost making it through, and Southampton. I mean, Southampton, I'm not sure how they're doing in their league, how good what their form is. I would have thought Fulham on paper would be able to do it. I mean, Southampton's eighth place; they're not even in the playoff zone for their division. I would have thought that Fulham could get the job done. They did. I think they did rotate heavily. Yeah, they did have a pretty rotated squad. So I mean, it showed, and I mean,
So
kudos,
is
shout out
Mason?
to Southampton.
Um, yeah, shout out Southampton. I mean, they've been in the Prem before. We know them. They could surprise. But yeah. So the next round for the quarterfinals will be the draw. It'll actually be tomorrow. It says prior to the final match of the fifth round, which is a bit weird to do it before the last game because you don't
Mm,
really. But hey, that's them. But yeah, yeah, I think that's everything we've talked about. Anything else you want to add? There's
no, that's it. Sorry for my voice. I'm a little bit sick.
cancer. I'm just kidding. No,
Knock on wood.
but he's been sick this whole week. Luckily, I haven't got sick. If you guys don't know, uh, we actually live in the same place. It's just he's in that room. I'm in this room. Eventually, we want to kind of get a like we want to be in the same room recording. It's just a little bit of lag here that gets a little bit in the way, but ideally we want to be in the same room, bantering, talking. Hopefully, eventually bring you guys involved. But yeah, as far as comments, live streams, all that good stuff. But yeah, for now, we'll give you our thoughts. Trying to do this weekly. But yeah, let us know your opinion on these games. Who you think is gonna make it top four? Will Spurs get relegated? Your FA Cup predictions. But yeah, if you enjoyed any of it, just leave a like, comment if you want, subscribe if you want to see more. But if not, then piss off, yeah. But for those that do, we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.